can download the book, Cracking the Learning Code, and it's 750 pages. And it's got different levels. There's certain levels where it goes and it says, now, if you don't need to know any more, go to the next chapter. If you want much deeper, continue reading. And so he handles all the different things. And so it's quite interesting. And the next thing I want you to do is go to the homepage. Yeah, main site. Home. Then go ahead and scroll down. No, that's the blog yet. Let's go to the main site. There we go. And scroll down. And again, it shows the different things that we do. There's the gentleman that wrote the book, Cracking the Learning Code. He's 83 years old, and he's known worldwide. He actually works with many different universities, and I'm trying to think which it is, the hospital. He does marketing for them, world famous right now, just skips my mind. Keep going down. And now this link right now isn't working. He's redoing his website. But for $27, you'll start to, if you want to pay it, he will start to educate you on the learning code and how it does. And go to About Us. Go ahead and scroll down. There's the gentleman I was talking about, Sam Pippin. He's 20 years old. In fact, it's funny. He came to Denver at a conference last week, and he wasn't able to rent a car. He's not legal, so he had to have a chauffeur, and he wasn't able to drink at the parties. Like you said, eight months, he's legal. Anyway, go ahead and go to our services. This is where I really want to be clear. We handle, on our services. Let's see if it shows them all. Okay. Folks, we also work for the Fortune 5000 companies. We do websites. We do trade shows. We do all the different things that any company needs. And like, for instance, we just signed up one of the largest medical manufacturers in Europe. And we're going to do 35 conferences with them this year. And so we do it all. And so if you're a business that works with businesses or professionals, like, for instance, if you're a business that has something, you sell attorneys, we will come and bring the attorneys to you, and whatever courses or education you do, there's the exhibits and so forth. So we do it all. And now on portfolio. Go ahead and scroll down. Here's some of the stuff that we're known for. Again, we work for them all. Philips, the Canon, Nintendo, the hospitals, and so forth. So I won't go through it all, but this is available to you for you to do all your research. And then go ahead and go to the learning code.
Yeah, I think this one is really interesting that it's got 2D and 3D animations. So, nowadays and this right here would be an example of what like a 3D animation or 3D would look like. This one has got the fire in it. And so, yeah, those are just a couple extra things I wanted to point out.
You bet. And the learning code, we have the endorsements of the top people in the world. Like, for instance, here, Kiyosaki. Go ahead and scroll down. That's the one I was trying to remember. We do marketing for Mayo Clinic, Arizona State, the Deming Institute, and all the different ones. So you're in good company if you join us as a client. We've done it all, and we can do it all. And the learning code is just unbelievable. Uh, and then, okay, now what I want you to do is go ahead and load up the PDF, please.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a little more detail. Let's see, there's no way you can make that bigger, right? Okay.
No, that's as big as it gets right there, my friend.
Okay, let's scroll down some. Okay, and it is a new standard for engagement and conversion, and you're going to see that as we go into it. The innovation is unbelievable, and it's breaking all records as far as marketing. Go ahead, next slide. And I'm not going to try to read all this. Again, you will be able to download this at the website after you sign up for the newsletter.
We'll also, I will have a link to where you can go and download this in the description of the show.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and next. And again, this is talking all about the strategies and how, especially after you've seen the video, the other thing, we have proprietary software, is after we determine who or we're marketing with you. And by the way, we prepare everything. We do all the posting. We do everything and bring the client to you for $1,000. It's kind of like today or yesterday, we signed up. If you know what a private equity company is or a family office, they own about 40 companies. And the gentleman said, "You mean to tell me for $1,000 a month, my companies can have clients coming in?" He says, "Is this a no-brainer?" And so he's going to pick two of his companies and do a pilot to make sure we do everything right.
I actually kind of want to make a point on this too.
Sure.
You know, you go to any business school, they're going to tell you that you really need to make sure that you put a value on what you do. Okay. You know, put a value on your time. Are you worth $25 an hour? Maybe, but God, I hope not. I hope that you value yourself more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And where $1,000 sounds like it could be a lot, the truth is that if you've got somebody who's posting on the ultimate of social medias for business, which is LinkedIn, I'm going to tell you something. I spent over 3 hours today myself posting on LinkedIn. Probably going to end up doing that a couple times this week. Believe me, $1,000, I would love to pay that just to where I don't have to do it.
And go ahead, next slide.
Okay, there we go.
And our whole mission again is completely change the marketing system, because the learning code itself, he has a program for, and if you want to contact me about this, we have a program for learning code for homeschooling. Like I said, we do the universities. We have a very inexpensive one for homeschooling, because the poor mothers are trying to get kids to beat them with information. And the head says, "No, I don't want this." But if they know how to apply it and how to present it, then the kids get excited and say, "Man, this is neat. I'd love to, fly around the world in my reading and so forth, rather than sitting here and arguing with my brother." Next slide. And so that's what we're doing. The goal is very simple: to attract and convert your customers faster, your ideal customer. And that's one of the things that people are kind of blown away at. They're used to taking anybody that comes. Well, we're going to bring your ideal customer because that's who your ideal client, because that's who we're going to go after and contact. Next slide. And this here will show the two different sides. I'll read one here if I can. And prospecting. Traditionally, identifying potential customers takes cold calling, networking, events, social media, and referrals. Now with Corecentrica, it innovates this step by leveraging data. Remember LinkedIn? And remember our proprietary software? I don't know if I mentioned it to you. After we find out on LinkedIn who we're going after, we actually have proprietary software that finds out every search they did through any search engine. So we'll find out what condition they're in, what's their mindset, and then if they match what we're looking for, then we contact them. So they really are targeted to the utmost. And again, we're doing all that for you for $1,000 a month. And again, after 90 days, we don't make it, your money back. It's kind of no-brainer. And I won't read all these, but again, you'll be able to download this from from Zach.
Yep.
And please read it and please contact me. And I will, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my my calendar link here in the chat so you can contact me directly.
That'll work, and I'll go on ahead and I'll put that directly into the chat of the show. That way it'll show up and it'll be linked for everybody for easier use. And I'm going to, just another personal thing here. Having somebody else do all that cold calling, I'm liking this so far, because if somebody else could do all that cold calling and I don't have to deal with it, I'm okay with that. I'm not a huge fan of cold calling. So.
And you know what's funny is there's 15 to 25% that actually love marketing. They love contacting people. And for those, we just say, well, if you want some extra clients coming in and joining you for lunch, hire us. But if you don't, do it all yourself. In fact, by the end of the year, we're coming up with a artificial intelligence that is going to include the learning code, and then we're going to have it as a monthly situation. Because right now we have many different marketing companies that are contacting us wanting to resell it. But for do-it-yourselfers, we are going to have artificial intelligence that actually allows you to go out and do yourself. Or if you're lazy like me, have somebody else do it. Go ahead. I don't know if it's lazy or just smart, but it depends on how you look at it. Go ahead. And this one really tells the difference. It takes an average of 8 cold call attempts to reach a prospect. And then you have to connect with them 5 to 12 times for them to convert. If you'll notice here on Corecentrica and Code 24 strategies, try 5 times and they're ready to convert. And by the way, folks, this is 1,000 campaigns, the results of. And so this is real. And retention, that's one of the things, if you're a business and you're using our methods, the retention is unbelievable because you're continuing to contact them in their life, in their emotions, in their dreams. And that's what it's all about. Go ahead. And same thing as far as the retention is improved tremendously. Next slide. And the testimonials by Kiyosaki, the dynamic media networks, the different gurus. If you're in sales and marketing, you know these names. Next slide. More of them. The queen of social media in gray. What she says is, this is unheard of, but it's here now, today. Next slide. And so you can join the revolution and by the way, we do have a lower. We have for $500 a month. We will bring you the contact information. We do not guarantee it, and it's up to you to do all the follow-up. And you won't be, when you are able to rent our the AI, you would be able to follow up, but that's going to be about 3 months. But again, and so we are going to have something for the do-it-yourselfer. For $500, you can pay us to find your ideal client in the time of life that is perfect. But there is no guarantee on the 500. We guarantee at 1,000 because we do it all. Next slide. And so there's my information again. It looks like the bottom was cut off there, which is my information, but it's over on the side.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's all I can get.
That's right. Because it's just less at coursecentrica.com. But again, when you go to the website, make sure you go to the coursecentricanews.com. That will allow you to two things. It will allow to be listed under myself, and allows you to subscribe to the newsletter, and then you can download the different things on the website. But then we'll keep in touch with you, because you're going to want to know about what's happening here and who's using it and so forth. And join our family. It's that simple, because we do believe it's a family.
This is still a new program, right? I mean, it's still
it's within the last 3 years.
Yeah, and so being part of the newsletter is so important, because you're going to be the first one to hear about all the up and coming things, and hear about all the new changes and all that other stuff, right?
Yep, that's correct.
So,
and again, remember, folks, we do this for nonprofits too. We go out and find the donor. So if you're a lot of nonprofits here, and one of the things we're doing creative. Now let me clarify on nonprofits. I introduced a nonprofit to Sam on Monday, and he says, Les, can't do it. And I says, okay, educate me. What nonprofits can we not handle? She had 5 different things she was trying to do, and she didn't have the money to do any of them, and she got a lot of in-kind donations. And he said, if we bring a donor to her, and she says, well, I got this here, I got that there, I got this there. He says they've got to be in business 3 or 4 years. They got to have a mission, not 12 of them, not 5 of them. They've got to know what they're doing, because they need supporters that want to support that. And so those are the 2 things we require, is they know what they're doing, and they're not all over the place. And otherwise there are none. If it's a nonprofit that really knows what they're doing, then we will find the donor for them for the mission. And so all you nonprofits out there, this is what I was going to say. The other thing is, if you don't have the $1,000, go to the businesses in your area and ask them to donate $250 a piece for four of them for $1,000 to get it going. And because then you tell them, okay, for $1,000, we're going to get 20. For $1,000, we could get, 100. It all depends, but you're at least going to get the 1,000 back, and after 90 days. And so be creative if you don't have it. If you do, introduce some of your board members. I mean, this is a no-brainer. It's just like them buying marketing, which they're doing anyway, but now it's guaranteed marketing.
Yeah, this sounds great. I'm really happy to see, and I need you to do me a favor. Tell Sam that I said hi. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years. Matter of fact, I didn't even know that he was up in Canada. Last I was talking to him, he was in, I think, South America. The last time I was talking to him, he had a little. He and his partner were in a little apartment. So I mean, this is amazing that he's went from that little teeny tiny apartment to what he's doing now. So make sure you do me a favor and tell him I said hi.
You bet.
And I'd love to reconnect with him sometime. So Les, they get a hold of you at les@corecentrica.com, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you got anything else that you want to share with them? And here's your phone number. It's 303-579-6881. 303-579-6881.
And the second one on you still have 3 ways to banking.
Yeah. I had to try to pull up your phone number there.
Sure.
But I'll get that one off of there soon. But
sure.
Yeah. So you got anything else to share with us tonight?
No, that'll do it. And everybody, at least get the newsletter, find out what's going on, and please contact me. We'd love to add you to the family.
Yeah, and please share this video. This video is going to be seen on the IMpACT channel a couple times per week. We really want to get this message out. Like I said,
I spelled that wrong. It's HTTP, or you did HTTPS. There's got to be an S.
Okay, yeah, so it's secured. All right, yeah. I just copied it, so
okay.
we just forgot the S, but I will change that on there, so it'll be all taken care of. So,
sounds
all
good.
right. Well, thank you, Les, and we will talk to you next month. Let's get this going.
You bet. Sounds good. Have a good
All
evening.
right. Thank you, buddy. Wow. Look, again, another program. This one is a lot different than what Les usually brings us. And this is just really cool. Again, if you are spending too much time doing one thing, imagine what. And this actually came to light with me because I was spending like almost a complete day just to take and put out one newsletter every week. I'm putting out 2 now, and I spend maybe an hour on them a piece because of a different program. Cost me a little bit of money, but I was able to get into a different program, and I was able to do so much better with it. And that's what this is. $1,000, yeah, that's a little sticker shock. I'm not going to joke with you. It's a little bit of sticker shock. But get in there, get to work on the first 3 months. If you don't have $3,000 in sales, they're going to give you that $1,000, that $3,000 back. Up to $3,000 back. If you've got somebody out there that is going through and picking the people that are looking for you, what are the chances are you're not going to be able, you're not going to make those sales? I mean, this really, really sounds enticing and interesting, and it really sounds great. It really does. So, I want to thank Les for joining us, as he does every second Wednesday of the month. So make sure that you join us next month when he's going to join us again and tell us a lot more about and look, I'm going to tell you something. If it's a business, this guy's got his fingers on it. So Les is, like I said, I was joking earlier. I said the man, the myth, the Les. I'm not joking. He is the man. He's in a lot of things. So, but once again, you can get a hold of Les at corecentrica.com. Thank God I talk for a living, right? So less at corecentrica.com. One of our brand new mission partners is here. I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the last 10-year journey I've had with Community Pay It Forward and everyone out there. But I really want to introduce you guys to Mr. Paul Jetter. Paul, and this is actually fitting because last week we had Jennifer with Dignified Dementia. Paul and Jennifer could actually work together and they could do things really well. Paul came up with a very, very simple idea because his dad kept wandering off. And this is just a wonderful program. This is a program that he started just because he wanted to make sure his dad was safe. This is a brand new friend of mine, brand new partner in the Community Pay It Forward program, Mr. Paul Jetter with Safely Back Home. We are extremely excited to talk to Paul Jetter, who created Safely Back Home. And it's a story that should sound a little familiar because it's a story that we've been talking about lately with Dignified Dementia. And they have come through with another program trying to help people who are dealing with someone you love who's found themselves in the grips of dementia. And I would like to bring on Paul Jetter. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Zach. Thank you so much for this opportunity for the interview and to be part of your program. Appreciate it.
Well, you know, we are extremely excited to have you on and be a small part of what you are trying to do, because dementia is unfortunately something that's not on the decline. It's on the, it's happening more and more in the United States. But there's also not just dementia. You're finding use and assistance for people who are, let's say, autistic with what you're doing as well, right?
Correct. Yeah, it started, it really started based on dementia and my father, and the research that I did about Alzheimer's and dementia. And my brother was his caregiver, and he was encouraged to keep my dad physically active. That's part of what they recommend to help slow down the process a bit. So he did that. But what I had read about that I had no idea about was that 6 out of 10 people with Alzheimer's tend to wander, and that I didn't know anything about that. And so my brother was a magnificent caregiver, and I'm not overstating that. He took such great care of my dad, and but he did take him to parks not far from where he lived. He did take him to stores and things like that. And as part of my research, the thought was, okay, that's wonderful, but what happens if my brother takes his eye off my dad, which is going to happen at some point. And if my dad wandered, and if he was in that group of people who wander, who have dementia and Alzheimer's. And my concern was, if my dad got to the point where with his dementia, where he could no longer say his name or where he lived, and he was walking, even in his neighborhood, people wouldn't know him in his neighborhood. He was a workaholic. He was always in his shop. They would not know what to do, and they'd call the police or 911, and my dad would be taken to the police station, and they would not be able to identify him, and if he was not able to tell them who he was or where he lived. And so my brother would not be able to be contacted. And that's how this whole thing started. It was a long time ago. But it's part of the journey on this. It started with my dad with dementia. You mentioned autism. What I learned along the way is that similar to dementia, and Alzheimer's, people with autism also wander. They elope, they bolt,
Mhm.
they take off. And there's different triggers that makes them have that happen. And many people with autism are nonverbal. Uh, Many could have difficulty in saying who they are, where they live. And then the other common thread with people with older folks with Alzheimer's, dementia, other people with autism is they really don't have a sense of danger. They don't have a sense of danger. And so when somebody goes wandering or gets lost, what I've been told is it's about a 48-hour window where they need to be um, recovered. And if that doesn't happen, then there's a high likelihood that they'll be injured or worse. And and children, especially with autism or people with autism, are drawn to water, and that's the danger of them
Yeah.
drowning. So it all started with my dad. And so my dad would not wear a tracking device. He would not wear a tracking device. And so I had a very simple idea for my dad and my brother. And that was to imprint on his clothing, to imprint on his sleeve, actually, my brother's cell phone number. So that if my dad did wander, if my dad did get lost and someone saw him, it would just be, at this point, it would just be my brother's cell phone number. What you're showing now is what it's become at this
Right.
point with Safely Back Home. But it was just my brother's cell phone number. And it was easy for me to iron on transfers that had my brother's cell phone number. So fast forward, my brother was part of a caregiver support group. This was all in New Jersey, in Piscataway at the time, in East Brunswick. And he brought in some of the garments, the examples that I'd made, to his support group. And the facilitator there shared it with the people, and they all liked it a lot. And they liked the idea and they liked the concept because they could relate to it. Continued along. I was working on it. My dad, his last year and a half, fortunately, I would call positive. My brother had been his caregiver, but then it became a little too much. My dad had a few too many falls, so he stayed in the facility and he passed. He passed, but he had the last year and a half was positive for him and for my family. And so I kind of put the idea on the back burner. It was brought up to me again some years later, and that, whatever happened to that idea that I had. And so I revisited it, and I also, I made samples up, and I was working with a group called Putting the Pieces Together in Lyndhurst. And they were, it was a group for families with children with autism, but children over age 21 as well. And I had met the woman who ran the program, and she invited me to go there on Wednesday nights when they'd have their activities where the parents would come in. And it was a wonderful program. The parents could relax, and then the kids of any age, for 1 month, they had dancing, and the dance instructor was fantastic, and the music was great. And another time they had cooking, and then another time they had music. But what I was doing was the parents would bring in clothing of their children. And at that time, they would give me their phone numbers. I showed them samples of what we're doing. And I would imprint. I used a special type of imprint that was very soft so that the kids with autism wouldn't be scratching at it all day. And I imprinted saying, if I appear lost, please call. And it was the parents' phone number. And I did that for about 4 months or so. And it did cross my mind that and the parents really appreciated it. And we had some folks who requested it be done in Spanish, and that was fine. We did that as well. But it did cross my mind that having the parents' phone number on there, exposed them potentially. And at this, right around the same time, just coincidentally, there's a lot of what a friend of mine calls serendipity that has taken place with this program. Just coincidences coming together. And the putting the pieces together, had a basketball game with the North Arlington Police Department. And I was invited to set up a table so that people can see what I was doing at halftime. And it was the kids and young adults from putting the pieces together against the North Arlington Police Department. It was an annual thing. And the gentleman who was the referee saw my table, came over at halftime, and we talked about what I was doing a little bit. And then he came over after the game was over, and we talked extensively. And I had told him about the fact that I'd prefer that this become involved with police departments rather than families, because the police are going to coordinate the rescues, rather than it being on the family. And it was quite wonderful. He invited me to meet with the chief of North Arlington Police the very next day. And so I did. And we went over the idea, and rather than having the family's phone number, we would have the police department's phone number. And we would also have an ID number. So that would be specific, unique ID number to that individual. And it started that way. By the way, I want to give credit also to an organization, a magnificent organization called Project Lifesaver International.
Right.
I had met with Chief Saunders. I had met with sheriffs from Morris County when I started doing this as a police thing. And Project Lifesaver is a program that's, Project Lifesaver is a program that's, it was the first one actually with tracking devices. And it's throughout the United States. And I got to meet Chief Gene Saunders. I went down and met with him in Port St. Lucie. And he loved the idea of what I was doing. And we still are hoping to work together on it. But the reason I mentioned that is I was very impressed by their program because of not just that they were the first with tracking devices, but they were the first, but I read about their approach. And what they do is actually train deputies, not only on how to track the signal from the tracking device, but how to interact with individuals with Alzheimer's and autism. And I was very impressed by the human approach they took. And I decided to do that same approach with Safely Back Home. And so the way the program became structured, it grew very quickly. This is now back in 2016. The way we structured it is that, let's say I'm the person who either has Alzheimer's or autism. And this is a free program. We're a 501c3. We became that in 2020. And this is a free program to the families who participate. So this is how it would work. So Zach, let's say that you're my dad if I have autism, or you're my son if I have Alzheimer's or dementia. And for right now, the town that we've just started in, the name of the town is called Hopatcong, New Jersey. Hopatcong, New Jersey. So we live in Hopatcong, and I've already wandered. You know that I've had this experience wandering, again, whether I'm an older person or a person with autism. So you would go to the Hopatcong Police Department, or you can, this is enrolling in the program, or you can enroll online, or there are other locations in Hopatcong where you can enroll. And it's a very simple procedure. You include a recent photo of me, recent photo.
Mm-hmm.
You're my caregiver. So all of your information, how you can be reached, Also, maybe 2 other contacts in case I'm wandering. Then you include some basic medical information. If there's anything very crucial, if I have diabetes, if I have uh, uh, type 1, what's it called? I just went blank on it. uh, but if I have any severe illnesses, that's one part. But then the other part that's most crucial is you say, look, when you approach my father or when you approach my son, and this is,
By the way, I love this part. This part is
yeah,
so
yeah,
this
this
part
is,
is so ingenious.
well, this is really important because what a parent is worried about, what a caregiver is worried about is how their child or their family member is going to interact when a police officer or first responder approaches them. And so on the application form, what you would include is you'd say, look, when you approach my dad or when you approach my son, talk to him about his dog, Charlie. Talk to him about his dog, Charlie. And then I would immediately connect with that officer and I'd feel calm and I would trust him because they're talking about uh, Charlie, my dog. And by the way, what I was trying to remember before was type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, yeah.
I just came back. And so then what would happen is they take that enrollment form and they assign a safely back home ID number to me. Okay. And then what we do is we print iron on decals. These are decals that can be ironed on. And it's so important to know this. I've done a lot of testing with these products and this technology. Is that I'll show you what it looks like.
Well,
I think, okay,
Paul, let me go on ahead and do this. And please note, everyone out there, there have been changes made to these decals, but this is very similar to what it looks like. If you look on the arm, it's, that's one location it can be put on. But again, there are differences now. It's not. One thing is there's not as many words on it.
right,
So
right.
it's
If you
more
scroll
clear
down,
and
Zach,
concise.
yeah, if you scroll down, Zach, or I can actually show it here to the bottom of the page.
Yeah, as we had showed earlier, this is what it.
Yeah, and so I'll refer to this. So write that. I'll refer to that. And so what is shown on there? This is it's a patch. It's an iron-on, and I can show you here during the interview as well what it looks like. I have a sample of it here. But what happens is that patch. Okay, so let me show you on a garment, and I'll try my best. And like I said, I'm not great at doing this, but can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
Or this.
You had it. Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
So very simple, very clean, very easy to read.
And this is what it is before we iron it on. So I'll refer to this. So for the folks who are looking at this, it has the safely back home emblem. Let me see it this way, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
Then it has the name of the township. So in this case, it's Hopatcong, New Jersey. Then beneath that, it has the 24-hour phone number for the police department in Hopatcong, New Jersey. And then it has the safely back home ID number. Okay. So now, these can be ironed onto any garment and they're completely washproof and they're soft and they're durable. So what happens now is I'm wandering and I'm wearing, say, this shirt. Okay. I'm wandering, I'm wearing this shirt. And I could be anywhere. I use the example because it's summertime. And by the way, this can be ironed on to clothing for the summer, fall, winter, etc. I'm wandering, say, down by the Jersey Shore. I'm a Jersey guy, Jersey family. We're wandering down the Jersey Shore. Hopatcong is about 2 hours from the Jersey Shore. And I'm on the boardwalk. And again, I could be a young person with autism. I can be an older person with autism. I can be a senior with Alzheimer's or dementia. And there are many other things too. Down syndrome, a lot of folks tend to wander. And for whatever reason, Zach, I've broken away from you. Okay. And I'm wandering. Now, many people can tell just by my body language that I'm disoriented, that something's not right. And my thought on this is that most people, just because the nature of the way things are, is that they'll mind their own business and they'll figure that somebody's going to take care of that kid, the family, someone's going to take care of that old guy, security or something like that. And I'd say most people, and it's not good, bad, or otherwise, it's just the way things are. But there will be one person, say 1 out of 10, who want to come over and help me. And they'll come over and help me, and they'll see this imprint on my shirt. And they'll see the phone number. They'll see safely back home, Hopakon, the phone number, and they'll call that number. And what will happen is they will get the Hopakon Police Department dispatcher, and they'll say, there's this old guy, there's this young kid, seems to be lost. I'm here in Point Pleasant. And even if they don't say they're in Point Pleasant, the police can see from the incoming call it's from Point Pleasant. And they say he's wearing this shirt or hat or whatever I'm wearing. And he has this ID number. And even before they talk about the ID number, the dispatcher knows right away that this is a person who's in the Safely Back Home program. So they tell, I'll call it a Good Samaritan in this case, thank you, please stay with him. And the dispatcher from the Hopakon Police Department immediately calls the dispatcher, calls the Point Pleasant Police Department and speaks to their dispatcher, explains the situation, and then electronically forwards my file, the enrollment form with the information, electronically to the Point Pleasant Police Department. The Point Pleasant Police Department then immediately forward my file to the patrol car that's right at the boardwalk, closest to where the report was made. That officer then is able to see on the monitor a picture of me, knows about you as my caregiver, knows what to say to me to keep me calm, and goes and makes a rescue on the boardwalk. And then you and I get reunited, our family. So it's a very, very simple concept with the iron-ons, and it really, I don't overstate what it's capable of. It's a tool. It's a tool to be used to assist in a rescue of someone who's wandering, and it doesn't take the place of tracking devices, not at all. Tracking devices are the best approach. And some people can afford it. Sometimes they're subsidized, the tracking devices. This kind of complements a tracking device, but it's also for anyone who does not have a tracking device. It's what's great about this is our costs have come way down. Before, we used to have to imprint each individual shirt professionally, and it cost $15 to $20 for each shirt. Now we have these iron-ons that only run a couple dollars, and people are able to iron on to whatever clothing their family member enjoys wearing.
Yeah.
And it gives the whole concept behind this is to try and provide parents, family members, caregivers a little more peace of mind.
Now, one of the things, Paul, and this is from personal past. I think one of the other things that it does, and people don't realize this who've never had to deal with somebody with dementia or Alzheimer's or autism, that a change in area, a change in situation, a change in any of this can make the individual extremely excited. When they get excited, there's a tendency to get a little belligerent, just like all of us. When we get scared, we get a little mouthy, we get a little,
Right.
the brain doesn't start putting things together. You can't, as an individual, if you're talking to a police officer, you're not going to want to take and reach in your pocket real quick to grab your cell phone, or